Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you start.
Hello, listeners. This is Sandy Pardue. Welcome to Dental Drill Bits. We are in Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas!
We are.
At the Townie meeting. And we are so fortunate to have a very, very extra special guest today, Paul Edwards from CEDR. And if you have ever been on Dental Town, you have read Paul's post, or at least you've heard about CEDR. If you follow me on Dental Town, you've certainly read my post when I talk about how he has helped so many of our clients. And I think you're going to learn a lot about your office and management of your team today.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Yes.
Paul.
Oh, thank you. So before we get started, I want to say something about you, Sandy. Of all of the consultants that we work with, I think you get HR as well as anybody does. I mean, I just want to congratulate you. You guys came.
Well, thank you for that.
No,
Yeah.
seriously. You came
HR is a
through.
monster.
I mean,
It
it's
is.
a dental
It's a
office.
doozy.
I know all about
I
that.
can absolutely tell that you get HR. So if you ever decide to quit this classic practice thing,
Oh, yeah.
No.
no, okay. I'm just telling you, I got a place for you.
That's right.
Yeah, now Dana here.
Yeah.
So she does all the HR for classic.
Yeah.
practice.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad she's able to join us on this podcast.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
for the viewers on our YouTube channel and listeners on the podcast channel, you know, I'll say that we work with CEDR Solutions.
Yeah.
They create a customized employment handbook for all of our clients. It's a standard thing. You can't proceed without doing it.
Yep.
Because if you don't have the basics, the ultimate basics laid out, I mean, we're just going to have a complete disaster, earthquake, tornado, hurricane, everything all at once, because it's just number one, and it's almost like you should be a program in these universities as well. It's like you can't graduate unless you go through the Paul Edwards School of Hard Knocks.
What a nice thing to say.
It's so, and it's just so overlooked. And, one thing that we always say within our company is, it's just the hardest part of life in general is dealing with other people.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, let me say one thing too, Paul, before we start getting all this good information from you. When I first talked to dentists about signing up for our consulting, and I make sure that they know that you're part of that, as far as like, we're going to make sure we pay for this employee handbook. And they're like, you know what? I got one from a friend of mine that lives a couple of states over, but I'm sure everything's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, you listeners are guilty of that.
Well, we're here at Dental Town. The question I always ask is, would that same doctor say, look, if you don't have a toothbrush, just borrow one from someone else?
Right. Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
So it's
Oh
kind of,
my
it's like-
gosh.
so when I say that, a room full of hygienists and dentists, they all go, ew.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way in HR. When someone says, hey, I borrowed that handbook, I'm like, ew. I
Right.
don't know where that thing's going.
Gross.
Right, where it has been. I mean, like,
What have they been doing with that?
and it's 20 pages, and
it's
it covers
always
nothing.
dusty.
It's dusty. No one knows where it is. And even with our consulting clients, when they first sign on with us, we give them questionnaires and we say, okay, do you have an employment handbook? And it's the same team members will say, yes, no.
I don't know where it is.
I don't know where it
I don't know
is.
what it is.
I read it in 2001
I saw it
Right.
somewhere.
and it was great. So it's never referred back to. So it's just props to you for developing something so refined and just, it's beautiful.
And why do
It's
they need
exciting.
it, Paul? Why do they need it?
Well, okay, so every single state has different rules. So we have federal rules, we have state rules, and then we have a lot of municipal rules. So let me just go down, I'll drill down real quick.
Okay.
As of today, as we're sitting here talking, there are 40 different states or municipalities that have passed some form of a paid sick leave law. So it's mandatory now.
Mhm.
Employee works a certain number of hours, they get paid a certain amount for paid sick leave. And so there's where municipalities are coming into place, because in New Jersey, for example, the state wouldn't pass it. So 7 different municipalities passed 7 different rules. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
there's a good example. If you were in New York and you got that handbook, which, by the way, New York has its own set of rules, from someone in New Jersey, it would not work for you, even if we had just finished it for that practice in New Jersey. And so as we look at all 50 states, they're all different. Believe me, if I could give you a template and give it to you in Microsoft Word and sell it to you, I would love that. That would be fantastic.
Right.
But the truth is you can't, and that's where we come into play. because
It's
we're
a
paying
moving
attention.
target.
It is a moving target, and once you have it figured out, they tend to move it again by adding something, taking something away. You know.
Whatever's most difficult.
Yes, I know. I know.
One thing that I see a lot that no one really talks about is that dentists tend to universally pay their staff, no matter what the position is, salaries.
Right. So we'll talk about it for a little bit. So there's salary, and there's salaried exempt, and there's salary non-exempt. Exempt and non-exempt are the key words there. So when an employee comes through your door, you can classify them. You have to classify them based on their duties in one of those two areas. So non-exempt from overtime, we'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Non-exempt from overtime means that you have to track their hours and you have to pay them if they work overtime. Okay, you could still pay them a salary. You could say, look, I'm going to pay you $600 a week, whether you work 36 hours, 38 hours, 40 hours, 32 hours, whatever that number is. You can't do that in all states, but on the federal level, they say you can do that.
Yeah.
But you can't pay them that salary if they work 41 hours, because that 1 hour is overtime. And so let's just talk about who gets to be salary non-exempt, meaning you have to pay them overtime. Pretty much everybody in your office, except for possibly your office manager, with strong chance they can be exempt, and your associate dentist.
Wow.
You notice I didn't say hygienist.
No.
And everybody thinks they can be put in the professional and classified that way.
Right.
And it's not true. The feds have been very clear that hygienists are not classified as professional employees. And that's how they'll treat it if they come in. So salaried employees or commission salaried employees, that's another example, would be a doctor, an associate doctor. Would be paid that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, an office manager, typically in an office with 6 or 7 employees, she can be classified that way as well. But if you're just in a small office with 2 or 3 employees, she's not spending over half of her time managing. So she's not managing the hygienist. She's not managing the dental assistant 50% of their time. So she doesn't qualify because she doesn't meet one of the requirements of the
It
test.
seems a lot cleaner just to pay everybody hourly.
I think it does, except for that associate. And, you know, when you've got somebody like Sandy, you've got someone like me, and we can give you the duties test and you can kind of run through it. There's a DOL and an IRS version, so it gets easy.
Right.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to get your office managers qualified to be in the exempt status if it can happen. It's a good thing because you want them to be able to return your text at night and to
Absolutely.
work 85 hours a week.
And then what about
I'm sorry. For anybody who's listening.
No.
Don't work your managers.
No.
Yeah, if you're sensitive, you might want to turn this off, though. It's about to get raw.
But here's the thing, like what about these practices? They have staff and they have no time clock, they pay everybody salary.
Yeah.
Then he fires the front office person and she's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've been working a ton of overtime.
Yeah.
And they go to the Department of Labor, and the Department of Labor comes back, and there's no time records.
Yeah. So here's the thing on that salaried employee, including those hygienists. No matter what, you need to be tracking your hours.
Yeah.
So you can't reach any of the. You have no defense. It's an affirmative defense. An affirmative defense means you can put out certain factors to help affirm your defense.
Yeah.
So here are the hours that this employee worked. She claims that she worked 6 hours of overtime every week in this affidavit, but we have all of her time records. And they show that she worked 6 hours one week, and every other week she only worked 15 or 20 minutes. So you're right, you caught me. And then you've helped the Department of Labor. They just said, look, we have the time records.
Okay, so I have a question for you on that. So most or a lot, or some of the time clocks that I've seen, they don't store all the records. They just for the time. They do for a pay period or a month or something.
Yeah.
Do you recommend another kind of way to track?
Well, the law says you have to hold on to those records for 3 years.
So you're saying the time clock, so that's something that listeners should look to make sure how long.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that your time clock is keeping all the records.
And you can go back and access
you can go back and pull them out. Because again, I can't say no, they didn't. That's what I've got to say. No, they didn't.
Got to have it.
And so that's the mistake they make, Sandy, is they think because they've classified them as salaried employees and they're paying them that fixed amount, they don't need to track those hours, and that's just it's not legal.
Have you ever
Right.
seen a doctor get sued and have to pay money
$265,000. He had one employee
for time that owed because he didn't document?
because he didn't document.
Wow.
She just
Wow.
claimed that she was working like 55 hours a week for about 12 years.
So she was a loyal employee, or what would
She
be
was-
classified as a loyal
and then they
employee,
butted
right?
heads. Yeah, she would have never sued him until they got fed up with each other one day. And he had a couple of part-time hygienists, but she was that one
Yeah.
employee that was there. And she went to an attorney, and he settled it at about $250,000. And
Wow.
he got out. He got out. He could have paid more. Yeah. I'll be right with you. Thanks.
Paul's in high demand.
I know. Wow.
We're lucky. Okay.
You're lucky, I know.
So wow. I mean, so again, I mean, these are what people would consider to be loyal employees. I mean,
Everybody's loyal until they find out that they can get paid. And I want to protect against that. That's the thing. That's not what happens all the time. And a lot of people just part ways and they go their own way.
yeah,
But when it doesn't work for you, just kind of flying under the radar, it really doesn't work. It gets
Yeah.
very, very expensive quite quickly.
yeah. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, right?
Why not comply?
Right.
I've never met a dentist that did once he learned the rules,
Right,
or
sure.
she or he learned the
Right,
rules,
right.
didn't
I agree with
didn't
that.
follow.
Absolutely.
There may be a little bit of grumbling along the way, but once they know,
Yeah.
they follow.
Yeah. And you have a timekeeping software, do you not?
We do. We have
Your
a
website?
very robust timekeeping software. We've just partnered with another software company
Mhm.
and kind of combined our stuff with theirs, and it's amazing. It
Yeah.
flies in California. It's
Yeah,
tracking
I'd
all
like
these
to know
rules.
more about that. What's it called?
Well, we still call it Time Pocket, and it's powered by a company called Swipe Clock, and we're just blown away by its capabilities.
So the listeners, if they want more information on that, they can
Oh,
go
they
to
should
your
get in
website.
touch. Yeah, especially
yeah.
if you're
And we'll
being,
give that information at the end of the
That's
podcast. So
absolutely
that's
fine.
great.
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah, it's pretty powerful, and we're giving it to, well, we're trying to get it to everybody's hands for, very $4-6 an employee. Very, very easy.
Oh,
Absolutely. And your whole online, a website, just the whole portal is beautiful. You can actually get HIPAA certified.
Yep.
And that's where I got my HIPAA certification.
Good.
And
Sure
so,
did.
yeah,
Sure
Have you
did.
gone back and done it lately?
it's probably been 5 months.
Oh yeah, so we just refreshed it. So,
Nice.
So this is an interesting thing for everybody who's out there, is that over the last 1.5-2 years, they went out and randomly audited a bunch of medical and dental practices.
Mhm.
So for HIPAA compliance, so
Nice.
HHS went out and audited. Up to that point, we were all guessing.
Yeah.
So we had everything in front of us, all the rules and regulations, but we were all guessing. So they published all of their findings and what they found in the offices and what they were looking for and where they were enforcing. And by the way, I don't think anybody got penalized when they were doing these random audits.
Okay.
So we followed that, and then we just spent the last year updating our training to meet the specific requirements of HHS in accordance with what they found in those
Right.
offices. So our training's been undergoing a huge revamp.
Sounds great.
Exciting. Wow. So, I mean, back to, HR. So the three most common mistakes,
Yeah.
what would you say they are? I mean, I know that we did talk about the timekeeping and exempt and non-exempt, but what would you say?
The first one I see, which you kind of teed that up for me, so thank you.
You're welcome.
The first one I see is that they have a handbook that hasn't been professionally created and isn't being professionally maintained. I look at those handbooks, the policies in them, every one of them is a verification.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, it's a book of rules, and we don't like rules around here and everything, but I have to tell you, I'll give you an example. I'm going to verify with you that this is what a sexual harassment looks like. This is what you should do if it occurs.
Yeah.
I'm going to verify that you need to report it to me. And I'm going to verify that we will not retaliate against you if you bring it to us. And those are very, very important things to do. And so, you don't realize it, but that last little piece there that says I won't retaliate also communicates to outside counsel and to the EEOC that they would have to prove their case against us.
Yeah, interesting.
So we're going to sit back quietly while you prove the case instead of not having a policy at all and having a bunch of emails and complaints and nobody doing what they're supposed to be doing.
It's guidelines.
It is. It really is guidelines. And so I find that they don't have good verification. Now, some verification, like, hey, we start at 8 in the morning, and we usually end at 5, but we might usually work a little later.
Yeah.
That's verification, and it might lead to a rule that says if you're going to be late, you have to do the following. And if you're late too often, you're going to get in trouble, and we might even write you up, or we might fire you for being late too often. So I think a lot of people don't understand that when they take a book, and this is the biggest mistake. They take the book, they get it in Microsoft Word, and they start making up their own rules. What they're verifying is in their own language, they don't know the rule, and that they're actually made up a rule which breaks some law. Like, you can't talk about your salaries.
Right.
You got to maintain full confidentiality here.
Right.
You can't talk about anything. You know, and I could
That's a common mistake.
Well, it's common sense, but it's not legal. And so
People do that.
we can protect the protected health information. We can protect the information of the clients, patients. We can do all those things. So that's the first one. They're doing their own handbook. I think the other one is around time. They're taking, like, they pay every 2 weeks, and so they don't realize that if an employee works 44 hours in 1 week and 32 hours in the next week, that first week there's 4 hours of overtime in it.
Right.
So they combine the two.
Oh gosh.
I see.
So they think, oh, well, I'm just going to pay them
So lump sum.
76 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay them for 76 hours, not realizing
Not
that,
okay.
no, you can't do that. It's a weekly thing. And then I think the third one is that they don't have a clear way to communicate to their employees that what they need them to do.
Right.
It's called a job description.
Yes.
It's verifying what I'm looking for from you instead of you just figuring it out.
Even during the interview, they're told one thing and they get there and this isn't what I thought I was going to do.
Oh yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. So, and then how to coach to an end. There's often a disconnect to the outcome, and so I think that's a huge mistake. You should be setting expectations with people. The coaching is going to happen. We're not going to get it right. You're not going to get it right. We may even have some tough conversations about it.
Right.
A lot of people skip that part.
Yeah.
You know, we finally got them. Finally had that person. We actually clubbed her in the head. She was walking by. She woke up. She's now the new manager of the practice, or she's answering phones or whatever.
Yeah.
And we really don't do what we need to do to support them.
Yeah. Now you mentioned overtime. Now say you have like an employee that, you know, your office hours are maybe, 8 to 5, let's say, that's typical. And they maybe get to work at 6:30.
Yeah.
And they're not working.
What?
Say they're not
What?
working.
You know.
And they have consistently done this. And, how do you handle that? Can you tell someone, look, I don't want you to work overtime, or I won't pay you for overtime? It gets hairy.
Okay. I won't pay you for overtime is a verification that you don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
And so you can't do that. But I see that policy all the time.
Absolutely.
It's like, don't even work it. It's futile.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you for this amount, and we're not going to pay for overtime. So you need a policy that tells them that they have to get it approved ahead of time.
Yeah.
And when they work overtime, you just need to tell them to stop and communicate to them in writing. And this is one of those things where if they do it, if they keep doing it, I don't know about you, Sandy, I want them written up.
Yeah.
I want to say to them,
absolutely.
if you keep working overtime without it being authorized,
Yes.
we're probably going to terminate you for it. And, in states like California, if someone works through their lunch break, you owe them another full hour of pay on top of the pay for the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So these choices that they're making are really putting you it can put you in a very, very tough position.
Yes.
Here's the other thing, and it's why I love timekeeping. An average practice that has a good timekeeping system versus not a great one, who has 11 employees, will save $13,000 a year.
13,000.
Yeah, because when you come in, if you come in and you're supposed to be in at 8 and you come in at 8:07, what would you put on your time card? I would put 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I work till 5:18, I'd write in 5:30. And that adds up when you multiply.
And they do
Absolutely.
it. They do it. It's called time clock theft.
Yeah,
Right?
yep. That's just a little. That's a little.
It's called stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stealing. Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
It's a half a car. It's a semester of education for a child.
Right.
It goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Right.
On the other side of that, we like for doctors and managers to be open to the practices doing something which is causing the overtime, or you've said something to someone in the past couple of weeks about they better get X, Y, Z done or they're in trouble, and so they stay after to work a little late, and then you roll in and chew them out. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not okay.
I can see that happening.
Oh, it does. Like, you know,
Yes.
someone will come in and say, look, we have a system, you're going to see one more patient a day. And, you know, you don't shut the operatories down at 4:30 like you used to. And you take a patient at 4:15, and all of a sudden someone's yelling at you because you stayed to do your job.
Right.
So you have to apply things fairly.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Well, you know, as I mentioned earlier to our listeners, we use CEDR Solutions for our development of our HR or employment handbook, for our clients.
Yeah.
And, you know, before we implemented it with our program clients, we decided to go on the adventure of evaluating our manual.
You did?
And we
I
did.
remember that.
And
Yes.
let me tell you, I'm totally transparent. So I'll tell you that first they were like, oh yeah, you know, because we had quite the manual.
It was,
But-
good.
Proud of
It was pretty good.
Yeah. And so they said, you know, we'd like to take a few hours to stay on the phone and talk to you about it. And I'm thinking, like, a few hours. I'm like, was it that bad? What happened? But let me tell you something. That was the fastest. It was probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but it was the fastest phone call ever and the most enlightening.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, and you have a team of attorneys for every state, so you're compliant in every state. And I mean, I'm sitting there going like, wow, really? Tell me about it. And they just really informed me, gave me options if some verbiage needed to be changed. How can we rework this? And so it's just a no-brainer for
Wait,
any
Dana,
business.
Is this when we decided that we were just going to get a CEDR manual?
We were just going to get a CEDR manual.
Let CEDR do
It's-
our manual.
You know,
And
it's
that's
an
what we
investment of
did.
time, but it's time that you have to put into your practice. You know, you put your seatbelt on when you get in the car. You hope you don't get in a wreck, but you do it.
There's something that a lot of doctors don't realize, and I hear from staff, they tell me all the time, he never or she never told us what our hours are. We don't know. We're not sure what the parking policy
It's
is.
only
We're
fair.
Not sure
It's only
about
fair
what
to your
we're supposed
team
do.
that you
We
tell
don't
them
know
what
our
they need.
holidays. We don't know our holidays.
Yeah, we kind of get told things, and well, the practice is constantly reacting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you're always frustrated because they come to you and they say, well, are we off for that Monday or is it the Friday for this holiday?
And then the doctor's stressed out
I
about
don't
it.
remember that. I don't know what day it was. Go look in your darn handbook.
Right.
And by the way, could you come back and tell me?
Tell me. And
Mark your
and
schedule.
that's a really good point, because Dr. Westerman, our founder,
Uh-huh.
always says that, you know, so he has his own practice, and when team members would ask policies, you know, for holidays, he would say, and this is setting it up so you as the practice owner, you don't have to think about the minutia of the business, and you establish these policies, you stick to them, and you refer back to them. You say, well, I don't know if we're off Valentine's Day. What does the manual say?
You'd say,
And
I don't know. Why don't you go get the manual and bring it back here?
Yeah. So
Now,
as a
sometimes
leader,
they would never come back with it.
Right.
because They really knew the
but it
answer,
really helps
but
you
they didn't like
establish.
Yeah, I didn't like you.
Yeah, it helps you establish that stance as a leader. You know, like, look, just refer to the manual, and it takes the pressure off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only effective when you've taken the time to really put it in place.
Yeah.
And it's I hate to say it, it's not a common sense document.
Yeah.
So common sense would say you can tell people they can't discuss their salaries. Common sense would tell you a lot of things that you can put in place, because look, all dentists, I haven't met one yet that isn't an entrepreneur. At some point, I think the first thing someone shared this with me, the first thing a dentist does, first thing he learns is, because of the nature of dentistry and kind of how those guys and gals are, maybe not so much the women in dentistry, but the men will try to fix the sink.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's true.
they'll try to get in there, and then someone like Sandy will walk in and go, you know, you could be earning $2,000 an hour, or you could be working on that sink and saving yourself $300.
Right.
Well, that thinking is it's good thinking, because it lets them know, it lets the dentist know what's going on in their business. But at some point, if they really want to get good at what they're doing, and they really want great employees, they have to take this first step to get this balance in place where all of these verifications and understandings and policies are right. They comply with the state and the federal and all the different laws. I mean, it's free. All my doctors, when they first come in, they're so attached to these documents. I'm like, did you have children with this handbook?
Yeah.
Because they're like, we spent 74 hours on it, so it's a $40,000.
Absolutely. Yeah, you just can't do it all yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks so much for swinging by our podcast booth, and
we
I'm just
enjoyed
so
this,
glad to
Paul.
see you
Yeah,
here.
so
And
much good
You guys are
information.
awesome.
we know. No
I
kidding.
know you know, but you know.
And you're awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll
You know,
just
we didn't slip into the Southern thing. Everybody should know.
Yeah.
We talked about it before there.
Yeah.
You guys are in the South. And I'm
we're
from
in the South, y'all.
I
Yes,
asked
we
them
are,
not to
And
say
we're
it.
all
Yeah.
about just loving each other, working
Exactly.
for each other, being efficient,
Bless our
Yes.
hearts.
and
Don't forget-
blessing hearts,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
cooking a
Grandma.
gumbo.
Yeah, exactly. Hush puppies, y'all.
Hush puppies,
Yeah.
crawfish.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll do recipes another
Yeah,
time.
we will.
Hey, next year, come with your favorite recipe,
I will.
and maybe we'll do a cooking show. I'll bring a hot plate. It'll be great.
Yeah. Okay, listeners, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Paul
Yep.
from CEDR. Would you tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our office at 602-476-1418. And what you probably should do is go visit our website, learn a little bit about it, see if we might be a right fit for you. There's a lot of things we do associated with HR that we can help you with. But if you're having a pain point, you're listening to Sandy's podcast, it doesn't matter whether or not you're a client of Sandy's or not, or if you're just hearing this, you can say, I heard Paul Edwards talking to Sandy, and I have a question or I have a problem, and I'd like to get a little bit of help. And we do it all the time, and we'll fit you in, and we'll go over your issue, and we'll answer your question, and maybe get you out of hot water, and show you what we can do.
Yeah. Paul's like vanilla ice. Hey, you got a problem? Yo, I'll solve it.
I'll solve it.
Yeah, okay.
Ouch.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, listeners.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.